Hello, beautiful people of the internet. Welcome or welcome back to the Don't Call Me Heather YouTube channel. My name is Hiba, not Heather. Today I have a 2025 market recap video for you guys. We're going to look at setups. We're going to talk about what went well, what didn't go well, if it was a good market, if I might not do it again, and also a little bonus content is some of the trades that I did with other vendors at the markets. Put a list right here of all of the markets that I did and the ones that I plan to do. So unfortunately, it's been really stormy lately, and thankfully now it's calmed down and hopefully it stays that way. But March pretty much wiped out all of my markets that I had planned to do, so that was unfortunate. Is what it is. So the ones marked in red are the ones that ended up getting canceled. If it has an asterisk by it, it means one of the dates was like the original date and then the next date was a postponement. So it really sucks because, as you can see, I plan to do like way more markets than I actually was able to do. So far I've only been able to do 3 markets this year. I did one in February, the Valentine's Day market held by a woman-owned wallet. I did in March the Bachfest. I did it with Revelry as part of their Artist Alley. First year that they did that. Bachfest is like, it's a goat racing event, and I think it originates in South Carolina. I'm not really sure, but it's probably like, I want to say like the 5th, maybe 8th annual one that we've had in Louisville. Then lastly, I did with Indie Gay Market the Big Gay Spring Fling, which is the second Indie Gay Market event that I've done, and I really enjoy their markets and definitely plan on doing those again. So let's go ahead and dive in, starting with Galentine's, and talk about my setup, show you guys what that looked like, some of the improvements that I've made, and stuff like that. So let's get into it. I will say it wasn't my best market, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that I was pretty frazzled that day because I had so many product ideas and ideas that I wasn't able to get done before the market. So during the market, I was trying to work on that stuff and try to get it done, which is not something you should do. It's basically like the night before a test trying to cram everything in is essentially that. So I should have just stuck with what I had, and a lot of your vendor presence and how you present yourself is going to deal with how customers are going to perceive you and how customers are going to feel about your booth and your product. So if I'm really frazzled, that's obviously going to put that vibe out there. I will say I was really looking forward to this event, and to me it seemed like the biggest event that I had done so far, not just in terms of numbers of customers that would be present, but because this was the most expensive market I had ever done. The booth fee in total with like taxes and stuff was $212. A lot. And the fact that it was a paid event, so customers had to pay to enter, so they had to like purchase a ticket in order to enter, which typically means that that customer has the mindset of they're going to this event to spend money. You know, why would you just buy a ticket to attend a vendor's market and not buy anything, you know? However, I will say the other vendors around me that I spoke to had also done the last women-owned wallet event, their Pinkmas event, which was the first time that they did a holiday event. The Valentine's Day event has been going on for a couple of years, so already has a rapport and a customer base, but they expressed that they had similar lackluster sales at that event as well, so they were kind of unsure if they are going to do another event. And I did speak to a couple people that were more towards the front, and they did have good sales. So, you know, there's various factors it could be. Obviously, my presence, definitely. But for the people around me, they were paying attention to customers and stuff and had a similar result. Was it too many vendors? Was it just our products weren't what they were looking for? I pretty much just broke even at this event. I really enjoy Women Own Wallet and everything that they do, and the event was a great event, but I don't know if I would be doing it again because at the end of the day, this is a business. I'm trying to make money. Luckily, you know, I was able to make my booth fee back and then like a little bit more, so like gas money essentially. So let's dive into my booth setup. What I gained from this experience, I will say, is I have a variety of products, and that's cool and all, but you kind of have to make like a product story, if that makes sense, with your layout. If things are kind of jumbled and everywhere and you have like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, it makes it confusing to the customer and they don't really know what they're looking at when they come to your booth or what it is that you provide, you know, what
what products do you have? It can be overwhelming when there's just like a lot of stuff. So something that I changed that you will see in the next photo at the next event that I did, I painted some of my wooden products, or stands, if you will. What are those called? My props? I don't know what to call them right now, but my wooden crate that you can see there and my wooden jewelry stand, those did get spray painted with like a sage green pistachio-y color, so they kind of match better with the theme of my colors. So you can see my little sign that has like the different payment stuff on there, and that's where I put my little Shopify POS reader. That I think helps to make things that don't need to stand out blend in more. And then specifically I wanted to do that really for the bracelet holder because it was a dark brown. It was hard to see some of the details, so I think the green really helped it, made it a better presentation. I've been thinking about spray painting or painting that planter stand that I have my purses draped on in this photo, and I still don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Sometimes I put it on the ground, sometimes it is on a table like this, and you'll see in the next photo, in the next event I did have it on the ground. So I don't know. I kind of like it how it is, but then I go back and forth. So let me know. This, I will say too, I feel like I had some stuff that didn't really mesh together. The way it was laid out just wasn't it. Kind of all over the place. The little heart trinket trays, I feel like those could have done well, but they didn't. And maybe that's in the way that I presented them. I will say I find that I have these little chalk signs. Those are like from Dollar Tree. It's the little like gel chalk markers that I use to write on them. I find that people seem to like a printed out sign better. So you can see I have like the framed sign for my chapstick holders, my mushroom chapstick holders, because a lot of time people will just like look at them and not realize that the mushroom top comes up and that you can't put like chapstick or something in there. And it says that, and then also says how like you can order custom colors and stuff on my website. I did have some like specific Valentine's Day themed Sunny Angels clothes. If I have any pictures of those, I'll put them up, but basically I just had like heart designs and stuff on them. And I don't know that this is like a Sunny Angels crowd, so that didn't really work for that. One thing I do struggle with is how to display my purses well, and this seemed like the best way that I could have presented them. So you can see that my chair is actually in that little corner, and I thought that was a good spot for me to be, but then as the event was progressing, I was realizing people completely didn't see me and didn't know that there was someone at the booth, so I shifted to sitting in the middle, and I did see a difference in customer interaction. If you feel like during the event, even if it's like halfway through the event or whatever, but you're noticing like a trend and like a fix that you can do, which is just like moving where you're sitting or moving around certain products, I would say do it. I think it's worth it. Now, don't be moving whole entire tables. Don't do that, because that's going to be disruptive to other people and that's not cool. But if it's just like little things, moving stuff around, do it. I do that all the time during events, and it's always for the better, I think.
I wanted to go through and show you the trades that I made and some of the small business items that I got at the Valentine's Day event. So I got this cute little Appa Yip Yip hat from a Stitching Witch. I'll put her Instagram profile right here, and I'll do my best to link everybody's websites in my description. But she does crochet and embroidery. The other item I got was this beautiful flower that was made by Jagged Quill, and she does paper quilling, and I have it with flash and regular to try to show you the detail of it, and super cool. What did I trade? I traded a trinket tray and some earrings for this, and I traded one of my hats for the flower.
Like the Revelry Bachfest, it was pretty good. Would I do it again? I'm not really sure, and that's mostly because of the vendor fee just being high, and honestly, it wasn't like they were making the vendor fee high. They made the vendor fee lower than it is to actually be a part of Bachfest. So Revelry is a art gallery here in Nulu, and the art gallery is open during this, and they have just like this little alleyway that they put turf down, and we're like, you know what? We could have some vendors out here. So they only charged only $200. So the Valentine's Day event I did, that was $200. And then the Bachfest one, I knew Bachfest was a pretty big event. If you don't know what it is, it's like goat racing. It's a big event in Nulu. I don't really do much in Nulu. And so a nice way to diversify, get exposed to more customers and such. So if you were going to vend with Bachfest, it was $260, I think, for the smallest booth size, like a 10 by 10. To do with Revelry was only $200. And what was a nice thing that they did, I will say, is they only required, like, when you first signed up for the event, once you got approved, you had to do $100 deposit, so 50% deposit, and then I think it was the day before the event or a couple days before the event, you had to do the other 100. So I really appreciate that flexibility, and Lord knows I needed it. I did fairly well at this event. In order to start making profit, I had to sell $200 worth of merchandise, which is handmade things, $200 worth of stuff, to then start making profit. So that's the thing with having higher priced vendor events, and I might do them here and there, but it's not a thing that I'd like to do consistently, because I'm basically, in a way, it feels like you're just giving your product away for free because you're not making any profit. You're just like there. Did I meet my sales goal? No. Did I do okay? Yes. Would I do it again? Maybe. It was a good experience, but like I said, that high vendor fee, I just don't know. There was good traffic. I'd say there were only like a few times that there were lulls and not really a lot of people passing through. And also because this is the first annual one they do, people that have been going to Bogfest for the past couple of years might not have known that we were there and that was happening. So this was my booth setup, and this was the first time that I did a parallel table situation. So as you can see, in previous times, whenever I've had two tables, I do like an L shape typically. Parallel tables, because then it would give space for multiple people to be in there and being able to look at stuff, especially when I make stuff like my micro crochet, so stuff that's small, only one person can really like look at it at a time. But this way it was like I could have a few people on one side and then there would be a couple people on the other side and get like some good flow and people like looking around at stuff. So people love my mesh tote bag, and it's always a really great way to draw people in. So I typically hang that one up at the front. If you want one, you could order one on my website, dcmhhiba.store. I've only sold one mesh tote bag so far at a vendor's market. It was surprisingly the one that I did at the college in town, which I wouldn't expect the college students to spend that much. And this is a little tip I will give too. So there is the college student that ended up buying it. Super sweet. They were like kind of awkward and he was like, "Oh, this is really cute," or "It was really nice." I don't remember the exact words he used. And he was just like, "Maybe so and so," I can't remember who it was he was thinking of, as someone, a relative, would like this. He was like, let me go see. And then he came back like 3 different times to take pictures of it and look at it, and I was very much like, yeah, sure. I'm like, "Do you want me to hold it up for you and stuff?" And he ended up buying it. So don't dismiss someone that is like that. I try to, and the whole point of like Don't Call Me Heather is to be like a welcoming space and to not other people. Being kind pays off, essentially. Just be kind. It doesn't hurt. And if anything, he took my card, so who's to say if he didn't buy it then, he wouldn't have like put an order in and ordered it for whoever. People love this bag design. I have one at Barrett Babes and Hard Times Collective, two small local businesses in town, sell my stuff at. I also sell my stuff at Grady Goods, which I have a market there coming up next weekend on Saturday the 26th, the first Vagabond art market. Anyways, back to the setup. So People Love It is a great attention grabbing, drawing people in, and I would highly recommend that if you have an item that you realize, oh, people really tend to gravitate towards.
Let your products do the work for you and pull people into your booth.
So I have that bag there, I have that chunky bag right there. I believe I ended up moving that bag, the chunky one, and putting it somewhere else, and then I put my granny square bag that I actually sold this past weekend right there along with one of the lanyard mushroom holders up front because they're kind of in the back. Like I said, it's good to move stuff around, and I didn't particularly like where I put those mushrooms, but it's kind of like the best place to put them. In the little tin next to the candy dish, I had business cards, and I hadn't seen anyone take any of those business cards the whole event. And then I look over at it, like 2 cards in there, and I was like, what the heck? And my spouse was like, yeah, people have been taking cards out of there all day. And I was like, what? Did not notice it at all. Because halfway through the events, or whenever I remember or notice it, I like to go through and like put more cards out if I notice, oh, this one's getting a little low, this one's getting a little low. I have my cards in multiple places all over my setup. So I have it in at least 3 places every time I do a setup now. And I highly recommend that because people overlook them all of the time. Even though it's in like its own little like card holder thing, people just overlook it. Another thing, I do want to get some lights, and I actually do have some like fairy lights or whatever you want to call them that are battery powered to put in my tent. Not just for like attention grabbing, but the kind of tent that I have, and if I remember I'll put a link in the description. It is like, it has like UV protection and stuff in it, so it blocked the sun. I had really good shade in there. The people next to me were getting a little hot and the sun was going through their tent, but because of that, it's also blocking light. So it was kind of dark in my tent, and especially like I said, I make small items. It's hard to see if you don't have light, so it's definitely something that I plan on working out and figuring out. So we'll go into the booth now and talk through. So this is the right side of the booth. I had on my trusty assistant Natasha there, I had a hat, which I did actually sell that hat this past weekend as well. I was surprised. I made that hat specifically for Galentine's because I was like, gotta make something pink, and then no one bought it. Anyways, so I have my little mirror there, and I go on there with my little gel chalk marker, and I put like, you look good in that on there, and my handle on the bottom of it. So if someone takes a picture of it, my handle is there so people know that's my product. I have a Moisu bag there. Don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's a Japanese knotless bag. If you already follow me on Instagram or watch my shorts and stuff, you've seen this bag before. I have a cowl that I just finished knitting right there, some of those checkered bucket hats, and then that fanny pack I had just finished. I have another vlog that I need to edit and get out to show you guys that fanny pack some more. So I like to line my products with, by upcycling old fabric or like old jeans and stuff like that. So there's an old pair of jeans that lines that, and I have like a zipper that I repurposed from just like a package that had a zipper on it. Just the packaging had a zipper, so I repurposed that. Part of the strap is actually like an old backpack strap, so really cute, upcycle. I have another one of these fanny packs that I need to finish. I need to put the straps on it and line it, and then that will be up on my site when I do get that done. Anyways, so this side was kind of like the headwear, the hats, and that, and then I also had some bags hanging up right there, as you can see. So that granny square purse I did sell this past weekend, and in it actually has like the jeans butt pocket, and I just love how it turned out so much. that other bag right there, I made t-shirt yarn from some old t-shirts, some like old college t-shirts and stuff. So there's 3 t-shirts and part of jeans that are in that bag. It turned out very sturdy and very nice, and people are very intrigued by that bag, but no one's bought it yet. But you can if you want to. And like I said, there are those lanyard mushrooms back there. And I was sort of sitting in like the middle, you saw where my chair was, and I kind of tried to be to the right a little bit so that way I could give people space to look at the micro crochet, because I feel like people, I don't know if it's they feel crowded or they just don't want to get really close to someone when they're looking at something small. Alright, so then on the left side, and that's my QR code payment method thing, which is very helpful now that my Venmo works correctly. Is really convenient because people do pay with Venmo quite often. I didn't expect it, but they do. So that's very helpful. And I don't have to be like, oh, look me up under da da da. They can just scan it with their phone and it pops up. And then they pay me, and then I wait for the notification on my phone and see it, and then I'm like, cool, all good, here you go. There is the bracelet stand I was talking about, so now it's sage green. I think it worked really well and it was super cute. Oh, the crate was actually in the other photo, but you can see my wooden crate is also sage green right there that the hats are in. I do think I should get a tablecloth for that table, and that's on my list of things to buy. I also want to get some table risers. So the person next to me in the booth with all the quilt stuff, I'll put their handle here. It's actually her birthday yesterday, I think. She had table bed risers. If you know what I'm talking about, I'll put a picture. And I'm like, that is such a smart idea. And I thought about it before and then I forgot. Actually, let me write this down because I would be forgetting and I have to have a list. And the kind of tablecloth that I actually have on the big table is one of those like vinyl outdoor ones. And if you're looking to get a tablecloth, I recommend one like that, especially if you're doing like a lot of outdoor markets. If something spills on it or what have you, you can just wipe it off. The bracelets. Very cute. I liked it in the front there because they were attention grabbing as well, because a lot of my bracelets are sparkly.
So much so that people were literally seeing the sparkle from other booths and coming over and being like, I have to look at it.
I think it also was nice like to set the tone that the products might be smaller but like very detailed. So I had those mushrooms. I sold so many mushrooms. Mushroom chapstick holders are one of my best sellers on my website in person, and I am glad that I spent so long and so many hours in preparation for this event of just cranking out mushrooms.
I was starting to ramble there a little bit, so I just wrote everything down on a list and we're gonna go through it real quick. So I have that little treasure chest. I'll insert a picture of it, and that's where I put my micro crochet keychains. And I don't know what it is, if it's the way I displayed them in this moment or if it's the price point of $15 that's deterring people, but I still haven't sold any of them. I think they're super cute. Whenever I posted about them, everyone loved them, so I'm not really sure what it is. I think in the next market I did on April 13th, I did just go ahead and put them on the earring stand with my other micro crochets, and I still didn't sell any of them, so I'm not really sure. Maybe the right person just didn't come along and find them. Next, I have the bag charm mushrooms. So those are like my least sold mushroom chapstick holders. Before I was advertising them as like a belt loop / purse, and I was like, I should call it a bag charm because that's like the lingo and like what people are calling that sort of item, so then people kind of have like a better frame of reference of what it is. I saw like maybe one at a market, and I think it was just because it was like the only one I had left, so someone bought it. I have a $5 section, really simple beaded bracelet, and then I also have my little marble pushers, which is just like a little fidget toy, so it's just like a yarn tube and there's a marble in there and you push it back and forth. They're great because they're super satisfying to play with, for one, but also because it's a silent fidget, so those always sell really well and usually when someone picks one up, they're like, I have to get it. It's also nice to be able to have something at a more accessible price point for people. Next, at this specific market at Bachfest, I didn't sell any of my micro crochet. It always surprises me whenever I have a market that happens at. People love the micro crochet, and oftentimes it's something that they've never seen before, but some people just don't buy it. And, you know, the right customer just didn't come along, and that is what it is. And lastly, the trinket pouches. Love those. They're so fun. They're so cute. I literally have some that I made this week on my desk. The hot pink and light blue. It's so cute. But I had this really sweet guy who came into my tent and was just so impressed by everything, and he was just like, oh my god, all this stuff is so cool. He was just like, wow. And then he left, and not 5 minutes later he came back into the tent and he grabbed one of the trinket pouches. He was like, I'm actually gonna get this. He was like, I started playing D&D, so I'm gonna use it as a dice bag. And I was like, and that's why I started making them, because I started playing D&D. So yeah, it was a pretty good market. Like I said, I don't know if I'd do it again, because I made decent profit, or I'd say I made decent sales, and then you subtract the vendor booth fee, the amount of profit I made was like okay. So I don't know if I do it again. We'll see. I will go through real quick the trades that I did at this event. So I had from Acme Artworks this beautiful glass magnet. This magnet is so strong. I'm obsessed with it, because so many times magnets are just like freaking weak and don't hold anything up. The other thing I got was from Gritty Pearl, and it's this beautiful forget-me-not in resin. Super cute. For each of those, they each decided to pick a mushroom chapstick holder, because they're freaking adorable and they speak to everybody. Let's go ahead and dive into the market I had this past weekend at Indie Game Market. Originally, I was going to make this all one video, but this video was already 30 minutes-ish, so there will be a part 2. Hate to do that to you guys. This video was supposed to go out last week, so we're working on it. Hopefully, by next week, the other half will be up, and thanks for watching.
Thank you for joining me on my corner of the internet today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Maybe you learned something. Let me know what market tips that you have down below, some little tips and tricks that you've gained along the way. If you have any polite, constructive criticism of my booth, I would love to hear it. We'd love to improve and grow with one another. If you would like to shop any of my items, you can do so at dcmhhippa.store. If there's anything that I've posted on my Instagram or any platform that isn't listed on my website, feel free to send me an email or an Instagram DM asking about how to purchase that item or to put in an order for that item. I plan on and am trying to post more regularly. Be sure to subscribe, put the notification bell on, like, share, to follow me on Instagram if you want to know whenever a video goes up. Free things that are very much appreciated. Let me know if there's any specific content that you would like to see. I do plan on doing some content that isn't business related or yarn, fiber arts related. So let me know. Thank you again for joining me. And remember, folks, don't call me Heather.